So our next speaker is Christine Campbell Rappin, and she's going to be talking about crickets to clients. Anyone ever experienced the crickets? Maybe you want the clients? So she's going to talk about how to find your next client fast. Take it away.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to a brand new year. I am super excited to always come and play with Orly and Michael, and I want to just check the room here. But how many people in this room today, we're January 2nd here, have already made money in this calendar year? Hands up. I want to see them high so I can see them and keep holding them so I can walk across my screen. I want to celebrate all of you for my #1 commitment to going from crickets to clients. And it is this. Please write this down. Get off zero. Everybody talks about the 1% and how important it is to compound and to get all this momentum. Well, my friends, momentum actually comes from movement. And the only way I know to get to 1% is to get off zero. And so I want you to put a Post-it note in your workspace that in order to create the epic year that you see, it comes down to that principle, getting off zero. I had the incredible privilege to sit down and spend quite a lot of time with Les Brown this past year. We're going to be doing some great collaborations in 2026. And when I first met him, he said, "You know why I'm successful?" I'm like, "Well, you're the GOAT, you're Les Brown." He's like, "I'm 80. I've been at this 53 years. He said, "From the very first day, I set out to dominate the world. I set out to bring my A game every single day, and nothing has changed." So I want to ask you if you're going to do the same, because how we play together determines the outcome, and it all comes down to a commitment. So if you want this year to be a great year for finding clients, the longer you stay at zero, the harder this is. And I watch so many people think they've got this amazing 12 months, and then it becomes 11 months, and then it becomes 10 months, and then it becomes 3 months. And you make this big goal you have really, really, really pressure filled instead of just getting off zero, staying in the game. Because I know also this truth, and I want you to write this down too, in case you need to remind yourself of this. I choose my speed. There are days when it will be Mach 10, hair on fire, and there will be days that that is not possible and success is getting out of bed. But if you intentionally set your speed, the thing you need to check in with yourself is, am I at zero? So are you ready to get off zero? Because I'm going to show you exactly how to find your next client fast. And I want a drum roll to see if I have this. Oh, I have to have permission to share. Okay, let me see if I can share. Can you guys see me? Green light if you can see me, and the tech gods run with me. Yes. Okay, we're running on my side. So let's go through this. Let's actually show you how to find clients, because I will tell you, this is a shocking statistic, and I had to put myself in jail, my own timeout, my CEO hat fired my butt as an employee, because a lot of us are speakers in this room. A lot of Orly's people are speakers, and 80% of the leads you're getting from speaking, you're doing diddly squat with. Hard to make money with clients if you have leads from speaking that aren't going anywhere. And I last year paid for a sponsorship, spent $5,000 to be on somebody's stage, got a great group of leads. And by the time that I followed up with them, which was 5 days later, $1.3 million in sales happened before I made a phone call. It was really tough to swallow that pill, but I know that's happening in this room. And so I want you to use the speaking opportunities you're taking advantage of to actually create the clients. I'm going to show you the misstep and why I fired myself, because if I do it again this year, seriously, it's going to be expensive. But here is the truth. I told you you can choose your speed and you had to get off zero. What I want you to know is that if you want off the roller coaster, you must, in fact, change the way you're playing the game. Because nobody's going to build this for you. If you do all the work to speak and don't get leads and don't make a good offer, if you get the lead and don't call them, don't make them an offer, I'm going to use this with very good heart on my hand. Shame on you. You're missing a golden opportunity. And I want you to win. And your #1 job, in my opinion, if you are here to get paid, because we're at a Pathway to Paydays event, is that your #1 job is sales. And I mean selling the event planner that you're going to be on their stage, selling the audience that you're a respected, trustable, must-hire resource. You are going to be getting paid by the person who says, I want your stuff, give me the credit card. And it is up to you to keep this really focused that sales solves almost every problem you have in your business. But if you're making no offers, no movement, no follow-up, no follow-through, then it's hardly surprising you're staying in a gigantic goose egg in your business. Change the game. Because while today is day 2 and not everybody put up their hands and said they made money so far this year, everybody has the same opportunity. We are all starting at the same place. We all started with the same day. We all started with zeros in our bank account, 0 followers, 0 clients, 0 leads, 0 sales, but staying there is a choice. So let's choose a different one. I'm going to give you right now, and I'm going to pop it in the chat. I want you to take the resource I'm offering you. And I'm going to do this right out of the gate, which is slightly unusual, but I'm going to do it anyway. I want you to have a tool. And I brought my 2 most frequently used tools that help me win in business. The first is going to be 25 ways right now to get in front of people, to get the leads, to get speaking opportunities. All of these work. All of them create money. I want you to find your path and get good at it. Don't do 25 things. Do 1 or 2, but no more, and get great at it. Second thing I want you to do from going forward is I want you to track what you're doing. And I know Orly and I share this in common. KPIs matter. 2 things are going to predict your revenue. I'm going to show you what they are. This simple tracker that you can download right now will help you keep honest. All of us, myself included, have zeros on the board on occasion. But if I stay at 0, I give myself a swift kick as the CEO of my business and say, employee, not acceptable to stay at 0 forever. And I invite you to do the same. So grab the resource right now. I popped it in the chat so you can get it right out of the gate. And then you can focus on what you're going to use it for. So the future client wants only 2 things. This is really important. People only pay for impactful results and outcomes. They don't pay for the process. The fact the process is kind of a rite of passage, but we don't like it. I want to know that I will create a predictable result. And I want confidence in the decision that I'm making. And if you're a speaker, event planners want the same thing. They want to know you'll deliver what you promised, and they'll want to know that their decision to hire you, pay for you, and invest in you in their stage is the right one. So how can you show up, and do you have certainty about your offer and the results clients get? So write this down. Clients only pay for results. If they don't get them, they're not happy. And if a lot of people don't get them, you will ruin your reputation. So you have to be sure that you know what you're doing. I'm going to take it as faith. This is Orly's room. People know what they're doing. But be sure to check in. And when you're messaging to people who are buying you, event planners and clients, that you're able to communicate certainty. Because you've got to de-risk this. We're in a trust deficit. Second thing is part of this is I need you to really get crystal clear. This could be a little uncomfortable, so take a deep breath with me. But right now in the marketplace, and if you looked in the rearview mirror to 2025, are you seen as a likable expert or a must-hire expert? I don't mean that you don't want to be liked, just so we're clear. But if all I get is applause from my speaking opportunity, something's off course. Speaking is lead generation, income producing activity. If all we got was applause, we failed the mission. I want to be seen as the must hire. I want people in the audience to go, I need her speaking at my event. I need to hire her. I need to be in her ecosystem because she's creating results and I want it to spill over, halo, and win in a bigger way. And I think one of the most important questions you start by asking yourself is, are you a likable expert? Or are you positioning yourself to dominate as a must hire, safe, trusted resource? Because here's what will be important for you to know. There's only 2 things that predict your revenue. So I don't need you doing 10,000 things in 2026. I want you doing these 2 things. And until you're at the income goal that you set, 90% of your effort goes here, which means you simply don't do all the noisy, shiny crap that's been keeping you blocked from the results of revenue. The first piece of the puzzle, I have to break it to you, is that your business will be built on strangers. It is imperative you go meet people. Your business will not be built on your current network. It is not, I don't want anybody who's got a big enough network to support a whole year revenue without new stuff happening. So I want you to get clear, more people, more ways, more often. And speaking is the most leveraged, highly effective strategy in this, because you have an opinion, you have a perspective, a result that you talk about, and you say, who wants to know more? And they move towards you. It's super effective. You're good at it. But I also want you to hear this refinement, because there's a lot of people who will talk to you about visibility. And I'm not talking visibility here to the degree that it's a gold star simply for showing up. I need you to show up in the right rooms where you're clear who the buyer is, and I need you to get your ask on and invite them to take an action. Because if you're in rooms without buyers, people who will never afford your services, never want to hire your services, and do not have the problem that you have a solution for, oh, for the love of God, you're in the wrong room. So I want you to be thinking about your business right now. Are you in the right rooms? And if you're not sure you're in the right rooms, the answer is clear, you're not in the right rooms. And if you're thinking, okay, well, now that I'm not in the right rooms, Christine, what do I do next? I want you to go download that resource I popped in the chat earlier, because I'm going to give you 25 ways that are working. Get into a different room and be sure that you're looking for buyers. I'm going to tell you what a buyer is, so hang tight. That's the first piece of the puzzle, though. Second thing is, how many offers are you actually making to potential buyers? So I want to know right now, pop it in the chat. How many offers did you make in December? I want you to think back to how many offers. You should be able to get this quickly. If you're not tracking your KPIs, but I want you to put in the chat, how many offers did you make last month? 1, 2, 10, 20? How many offers did you make? I've got a 4 in here. Orly's saying 30. Preeti's got number 1. I've got 5 from Sheldon. Now let me ask you a second question. Whatever number you put in the chat, is it enough offers to hit your revenue goal and client served goal? Or is there a gap? No, it's never enough. Did you note that? So if you're not making enough offers and you're not in the right rooms, you're making this infinitely harder. And I get it. It's the giant mystery. Christine, what rooms do I get in? I will tell you, people hire me to help them solve this, and I know how to solve it fast. But the gap is there, which means you have to increase your speed. And I told you what when we started, you can control your speed. So if your number is not high enough, get off 0 and amp up the speed. You're looking for the right rooms with buyer behavior, and you're making more offers, and you're very clear on what the ask is. This is Business 101. It's so simple, and most of you are not doing it. And when you're not doing it, put your CEO hat on and fire your butt as an employee and say, not good enough. You don't get a free pass if we don't get revenue. We're not employees. We're bosses, and there's a difference. So if you know the 2 things to focus on, how does it actually come together? Well, I tell you, there's just 3 things you need to focus on. First is this, clarity. You need to be clear that you know who you're looking for, and you can spot the pattern, and you can invite them like a magnet towards you, to experience you, to really see, am I getting what you're putting down? Is this person someone I trust? Do I believe they're credible, capable, and caring? You got to be able to know this. And I always think that you've got to think about buyers are decision makers. So you've got to know what the moment in time, I call it an intersection point, or it's like a pinhead. What's the intersection point where your next customer, client, patient, whatever word you like, is making a decision to solve something? Because that's the moment you need to intersect. You need to show them a signpost that said, I have an option of a solution this way, please. That's the first piece of the puzzle. Are you clear who you're looking for and what decision they're facing? Number 2, you must invite. We go back to movement again. You must be able to invite somebody to go from curious to here's my credit card. And I got to tell you, that walk is longer than you think. I think so many times we jump the gun trying to go from first date to marriage proposal, and people are freaked out because it's weird. It's weird in real life, and don't do it in business either. I will tell you that on average, people research in a blind sense, which means you don't see them, 7 to 20 touch points. They're checking your social media. They're checking your LinkedIn. They're meeting you in networking spaces. They're asking other people who say that they know you in common. They're verifying you. You don't even know they're there. Happens every day in my business. People are like, I'm going to hire you. I'm like, who are you? Because I put the evidence out there and I invite people to move. And here's what's really important. My message is congruent. It's consistent. It tells the same story. And that's important because it builds trust. And I said, we're in a trust deficit. So really think about your intentionality of telling a story that moves somebody to, she's capable. I like her because they're going to ask this question. Can I borrow her confidence that she knows where her going until I have confidence she can help me get the results I want? But you've got to think this much further than you've got. People are highly distracted and don't know what to do. Your job is to lead them. And I'll tell you, when I made that mistake back in November, and I've watched $1.3 million in money move to somebody else or somebody else's, there were multiple people that were selling in that room, I kicked myself pretty hard. Because while all of those people bought great solutions by people who are peers and my respected friends, none of them are going to help them sell something. But I know in Q1, I'm going to be making a lot of phone calls and saying, do you need help selling something now? Because I can help you with that. But you've got to have a strategy, my friends, and it's got to be an intentional one. The third thing, and we're going right back to your numbers, you must lead the offer, which means you have to be clear what an offer is. And I'm going to tell you what an offer is not. An offer is not passive aggressively buy my stuff. It's I have a resource and an action, download it now. I gave you one right at the start of the session. I said, if you need this, download it. That was my offer. And I already know on my screen here, several of you took the opportunity. If you haven't yet, watch this. This is how it works. I'm going to make you an offer, give you free resources to win the game and win your business, show you how to do it. Grab it right now. But remember this, and this is important because imposter syndrome is pretty real. Your offer is not about you justifying yourself. It's also not about you healing yourself. And I know that's not popular. The offer is about showing value to another human being. And the other human being gets to decide if it's worth it. And their decision about whether it is worth it is not a judgment against your worth. The hardest thing people learn when they work with me is this. Your job is not to decide if they're ready for an offer. Your job is to ask them if they want one. If they say yes, you make an offer. If they say no, you respect that. But when somebody has a problem and there's a conversation happening about a solution, recognize this truth. This is really important. Write this one down too. They have only two choices when they face a known problem. Number one, I can keep my problem. And people will do that. It's not rational, but they will. Our comfort zones are awesome and dysfunctional. But they can keep the problem, which means they are still a lead for you because until they solve the problem, they're always still needing a solution. Or number two, they can solve the problem. And proximity is power. You've heard this from everybody under the sun. But what I mean in this context is that you're the nearest path to a solution when you make an offer. So hold the line and invite them to have the courage to solve a problem. So this is how you grow a business. This is actually how you find clients fast. You put your blinders on, you get clear who you're looking for, you get into massive activity, getting your ask on, and you lead them to the offer and say, which choice would you like? Keep it or solve it. It's really that simple. It's not effortless. That's how it works. So in order to just spin this a little further, this is the only other thing I really want to teach you. And is that you need to understand what a buyer is. Okay, you can use the word client, customer, patient, whatever fits your industry. In this case, for many of you in this room, it might be an event planner. But buyers have three things, and you've got to see all three of them here, or you're wasting your time talking to them because you're in the wrong room. They're not buyers. And that's tire kickers and a ginormous waste of time. Number one is they have a problem that they know about. So you've got to ask them, what's the problem you're trying to solve? How could I serve you? People come to me and say, I don't know how to find clients. I said, I know how to do that. They go, great. And I go, would you like me to serve you and show you how? They go, yeah, that's helpful. but go to a known problem. If you're trying to create business around an unknown problem, you have to have a lot of money, a lot of patience, and a lot of runway. Most people don't have the tenacity to stick that. Don't make the hard stuff even harder. There's plenty of stuff that will be hard. Go to a problem that already exists. So if you've got somebody who's in a marketplace that is a competitor who serves them, I'm thinking, fantastic, that shows me there's buyers in the market. Secondly, because I have a problem, I know there's a gap. You all told me you know there's a gap. You all told me that you're buyers. You're buyers for what I do for a living. I mentor people to find clients. And you all told me you don't make enough offers. And I said, if I could help you do that, is it worth conversation? If it is, grab the VIP. I'm giving you 30 minutes free consult in the VIP. But what's happening? I know I have a problem. I've gone to Pinterest, YouTube, TikTok, Aunt Sally, random strangers on Facebook. I've gone to YouTube. I've gone to courses. I've been to summits. I've done a million things to try to find the solution. And here's the giant elephant. It's still a problem. But here's also what's true. Hope. I hope that there's an outcome that's better than the one I'm living now. And your job is to get curious about hope. What would it look like to be worth it to fix this? Let's talk about that. What is the gap you faced? How would I be able to help you bring a recommendation that improves the odds of success? Because you want results and you told me how. Number 3, you have to ask, do you want to change? And you got to recognize people are human and they'll lie to you, but that's okay. You also need to support them as a human. If they're not committed to change, your job is not to drag them uphill. Don't exhaust yourself. It's painful. You'll get flat head syndrome. It'll make you crazy. But I want you to look for buyers. And so I'm going to recap this out and I'm going to make sure I respect some time here. I want you to know this. Buyers are in the slow lane, middle lane, or fast lane. Slow lane buyers are someday buyers. Be careful you don't spend all of your day talking to someday buyers. You need to find the buyers of today that are white knuckling the problem, that have urgency, commitment to this. There's also a fast lane. Here's what you know when somebody's in the fast lane. If you ever have somebody say, I have a budget, you know they're freaking in the fast lane, because I'm like, if you have the time enough to create a budget, you have had this problem far too long. Nobody hires me because they have budget. They hire me because they're like, crap, I need to find money, paying clients. And if they've been in the budget for a long time, I'm like, I'm not sure I want you as a client because you've had far too long in this problem. Get out of it. But I want you to be thinking about your business moving forward. Get off zero. Focus on the 2 things that predict revenue. Get really clear, are you in the right room? And then get your ask on. It's the only way to build a business, to go from crickets to clients. And I will tell you, I've got so many client testimonials, but I'm just going to leave this one on the screen and pop the chat in there and give you guys the opportunity to come ask questions. Dan's business, he'd been in it for 10 years. He relied on referrals. And he said, I know I can close the business when I get it. I'm good at what I do. I said, well, what's the problem, Dan? He said, I don't make enough offers. He used the expression, because he's a Chicago guy, I don't get enough bats. And I said, the only way to get more bats at play is to stop building based on referrals, get into the right rooms, make more offers, and run your business like a business. I have my best Christmas present ever from Dan. When he hired me back in June, he said, Christine, if I do this well, I want to take my wife and my daughter to New York City. I work so hard and they don't see all the effort and they don't always see the reward either. He sent me a picture on the day before Christmas with his daughter and his wife in New York City and said, we made it. We got our goal. We're all here. I can't wait to do more work with you in 2026. His story is testament to the get the ask on. If we've never met, I am Christine Campbell-Rapin. I have a great skill set. I help people go from, I know what I'm doing, to, oh my God, it's happening, to I see the potential and I'm going to adjust my speed. You need support, please grab those trackers, use them, and send me an email and tell me how you're winning. Because I think we need to be winning a whole bunch more. And Orly wants to be a household name. I was asked if I wanted to dominate the world. I said yes, because I want to make people realize that business is the best game out there. Go write your own success story. While you're at it, feel free right now, if we've got a couple of minutes, feel free to ask any questions, because my brain, my $1 billion of sales expertise is here to say, how do I serve you?
We have time
if
for
I
one
want you to
question.
win. Yeah, let's ask. Who's got a question?
Come on, guys, don't be shy. All right, Ariel, go.
I'm definitely not shy. Um, sometimes I end up in a room where, like I'm and it ends up being more of they're trying to sell to me. And I haven't been able to flip that because that happens to me very frequently. Because a lot of times when I'm meeting people, especially for the first time, I'm not interested in selling. I'm interested in getting to know what possibilities exist.
Yeah.
And they want to sell. And I just haven't been able to stop that before it gets to the point that I'm like tired of one-on-ones.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, actually, I wrote a love letter about this. It's coming out. Mark your calendars, January 17th. I've got a whole blog coming out, exact how to run a one-to-one that leads to client referrals and stop being pitched at. Because this comes up a lot. I will tell you right now, the easiest way to do it is this. First off, control the agenda. So what I would do is at the start of the meeting saying, we're here to talk about this, and this is the structure of the next 30 minutes. Are you on board to have this kind of dialogue? And if not, we do not need to continue the call. What happens is you let the other person control the agenda and you can't take control of it. And you end up with hours in your week, every week, in non-productive conversations. I think networking is pretty broken because it's become a busy activity. If I fill my calendar with one-to-ones, I look like I'm doing the right thing. But if all I got was pitched at, not effective. And my goal is let's be more effective. So the first thing I would do is be, first off, aware who you give your calendar link to. So I would say control that agenda a little further. And then when you set a meeting and saying, this is the structure of our call, this is what we're going to be looking at, and you have to just lead first. And it's a very fair expectation to say, I'm going to interrupt you. If all you're here to do is pitch at me, then we can conclude this meeting because that's not what the agenda of the day is.
Mm-hmm. Also, it's very good that you're saying that, Christine, because I feel like, and Ariel, good question, absolutely amazing question. I think it's serving our purpose in our time for 2026 to have some clear goals and clear path of working, right? Of your own when people say I have a business plan, I'm like, that's great, that's for everybody else, but a business model is for you to follow. So having a good business model to follow yourself. And my second thing about that is what I teach my clients, and I'm glad, Christine, you're coming up with this how to run a one-to-one, because what I teach my client is how to have the one-to-one with an event planner, because it's a different conversation. And it's so important to understand that you only have about that 10 minutes. You don't have 30 minutes to schmooze with an event planner. You got to get to the point immediately. And one of the most important part is, how much you going to pay me?
Well, and a big part of this is going into the meeting to actually to create an outcome, right? So this is no different. So I said buyers buy an outcome. So if you go into the meeting saying our objective today is to decide if we're going to be good collaborative partners, we'll know if we achieve that by, I'm going to tell you about my business for 5 minutes. I'm going to give you the same opportunity. I'm going to say, who do you know that you can make an introduction to right now in the meeting? And if someone says, I think I might need your services, you say, great, let's schedule a separate sales conversation where I can make you a specific recommendation. You separate that right out. And that way you can successfully know with the right language, you're in a networking call, a collaborative call, or truthfully also beware in the balance of however many meetings you have a week, 70% of the call should be income producing for you. Beware you don't get caught in the busy work. And I got clients all over. It's actually one of the post-it notes. I said, what do my clients say? I don't have the money. I get stuck in one-to-one calls that go nowhere. I need the leads, but truthfully, I'm not sure anybody I'm meeting is qualified. And I'm like, well, let's structurally fix that. Because once you do, I'll tell you, you can't wait to have those one-to-one calls because it's like, this is going to be an effective use of 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always challenge people, focus on your effectiveness more than adding things in, because I truly would rather you do less. But the whole theme is even fewer, better, bigger.
Yep. Yeah, one thing I found very effective too, I discovered this actually about when I first started, and it was game changing, was using Calendly and using the questions on Calendly. Calendly lets you put questions on your booking link. None of my booking links don't have questions.
Yeah, me
So
too.
if you book a networking call with me, it asks things like, who do you ideally want to meet? What's your biggest frustration? And some of those questions they help me to network better, but also to identify if they might need a service I can offer, to know what kind of conversation to have. And it filters, because the people who are there to pitch you, most of them, now if someone's clever, they'll give the right answers and then pivot the conversation. I've never met anyone that clever. No one has ever put in fake networking answers and then pivoted into a sales call. The ones who want to pitch me, they put in either nothing or one-word answers. Now it just cancels meetings. So they don't
You
even get
can,
in.
right? If this doesn't, and this is again, you putting on your CEO hat and remembering, if somebody puts a calendar invite, and I had somebody book into my calendar, like I haven't used in 8 months, 2 weeks ago. I'm like, what do you want to talk about? Because this link doesn't exist anymore. You've obviously had my contact for a long period of time. What is the objective you want out of the meeting? And if he didn't give me one, I said, until you come back with a clear objective, I'm not holding the meeting.
Christine, can you repeat what are the three categories of the calls? I thought collaboration, qualifier, and sales were the three, but can you just repeat
I
them?
would say collaborative sales conversation, and the other one is qualifier is good too. You're not sure yet what there is, right? So somebody will come into a one-to-one, you might not know where they fit, but you've got to be also, just please go back to what I said at the very beginning. Your number one job is sales enablement. So when you ask somebody, what are you there to meet on? You can set the tone of saying, I'm looking to grow my sales. So I'm looking for you to make referrals and introductions. And then if we decide we're great collaborative partners, we'll talk about what that looks like as well. But set the orientation, not as everything collaboration first, because you guys are collaborating for the fact of busy. I need you selling first. And trust me, if you're great at selling and you're great at what you do, everybody wants to collaborate with you. And you have to be discerning.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Ariel, for the question, and thank you, Christine.
Christine, you're awesome. I love you.
Love you too, my friend.
Great concepts there. Yeah.
I filled up my form.
Awesome.
Yep. Run the business, not the busyness.
Yeah,
But
busy leads to Brokeville, leads to Burnoutville. If you're on that track, switch gears, put your turn signal on, and let's go make you some sales, some clients, some service, and have a whole bunch more fun this year.
Good times.
Definitely.